While looking into the most optimal deck list for the deck, I'm not doing a lot of statistic research about the deck that I want to share with you guys. So here is what I found. Alright, so this is the main thing I wanted to showcase today, and it's the hypergeometric distribution for the deck. That's basically the chances of drawing certain cards in the deck. As we know, the Cannahawk and Rampengo are one card starter, no? And this percentage is very well known within the Yu-Gi-Oh community. So you have a 33.8% chances of drawing them in your starting hand. And this is for one or more copies. Now, this calculation comes from a tool that has seen a lot of YouTubers showcase in the past, and that is the hypergeometric distribution calculator. And this is the one that people normally use. It's this page called StatTrek. And you will notice here we have a certain number, we have the population size, just to give a quick rundown of how to perform this calculation. I'm gonna put the link in the for the page in the description below in case you wanna check it out yourself. You have the population size that shows the number of cards, number of successes, it shows the amount of that card that are in the deck. Sample size is 5, and number of successes in that sample. Sample size is your starting hand basically, and how many you wanna draw at least, or for one. So the chances of drawing exactly one Cannahawk or exactly one, or the chances of drawing Rampengo are 30% just for one, and you will notice more for chances that are less than one, and this is the opposite of here, that this is the number of drawing one or more copies, no? So this calculator is very useful if you're trying to put a deck together and want to check the chances of drawing certain starters, for example. This can come very handy, no? So the whole ordeal of using the hypergeometric calculator is to be able to calculate how consistent is the deck, no? You will notice here there are certain things I calculated, like for example, we have the same number for Rampengo, because if we play a place of Rampengo and a place of Cannahawk, they're gonna yield the same results. And we have this in here, that is the percentage of opening one of the two cards, and this is 57%. And this number actually is calculated a little bit different. You will notice that it's not exactly the addition of both them. And the reason behind it is because you are also taking into account drawing both them, no? And you want to subtract that. So it's the probability of one plus the probability of the other one minus the probability of both them together, no? So with these three numbers in mind, this is basically what I grabbed from the hypergeometric distribution calculator here in StatTrek. And I found this number very useful, but obviously Ritual Beast is a deck that has not only one card starter, we also has a lot of two card starters, no? So what I did is that I put here in the right of this spreadsheet the probabilities for two card starters. And I borrowed a terminology here from one of Swisky's videos where he described the power level of the combos, if you want to call it, by the amount of interruptions that they put on. So you see here P5 means that it's able to put 5 interruptions. P4 means that it's able to put 4 interruptions, no? These are the other two card starters, and I put this one here that play through interruptions because, you know, El de Cannahawk and El Rampengo were able to play better through interruptions, no? With this in mind, we know that we have 9.8 for most of these, just because if we play a playset of one card and the playset of the other one, we're gonna get 9.8, no? For other ones, like for example Lara and Apelio, we only play one Apelio, so the percentages are way lower, no? So while this information is interesting, the main thing I wanted to showcase here is how I got this information, because it's a tool that I haven't seen other YouTubers, other people on YouTube talk about, and it's this deculator. And this deculator is a tool that I think was originally designed, or is designed by some Magic players, but we can also utilize it. You will notice here I have the Elder Cannahawk starter. So this is the amount that we have in the deck. This is the amount we have in hand. By the way, this link is gonna also be in the description. And the Cannahawk 2, and when we put the calculated chances, we put how many we want in the hand, and we put how many, how big our hand is, no? I notice there is the 9.8 that we see in the other side, that we see over here, no? Now, another thing that's very useful with these calculators is that you will notice one card that I include in my previous deck profile, and that is gonna be my deck profile coming up on Friday. One card I want to talk about is the Post Prosperity, no? Post Prosperity allows you to see three cards from the top, no? But Post Prosperity itself was one card, no? So you are really seeing 7 cards, no? And this is why I think Prosperity is a really good card. So you notice it's 33.7%, no? And this is with a hand size of 5. If you go to 7, this increased to almost 45%. So it's a very, very big jump, you know? If you're thinking about how many times you see this in a tournament, it's very, very relevant. So this is why cards like Post Prosperity, I think they're really, really good. And I think when the deck comes out, are cards that we're gonna really, really seriously consider playing, no? And the same thing can be seen for the Deculator. You know, if we instead of 5 cards, which is 7 cards, you notice that the percentage is now 18.4%. You notice it go way higher. It's almost basically doubles the percentage, you know, just by changing that one number, no? So things that you want to keep in mind when you are calculating percentage for the deck, no? So the last part I want to touch today about is that apart from this, I really wanted to know what the percentage is of drawing anything, you know? Like the percentage of just drawing something you can play, no? And it was really bothering me because I tried to make the calculation and pay no sense to these numbers, please, because I tried to do a bunch of calculations here. Try to do it multiple times when I had some sheets of paper filled with numbers, just trying to do this calculation, but it gets very complex. And I'll be honest with you, the calculation was too complex for me to actually calculate, because you have to add all this up and you have to subtract. Remember how we did with the Cannahawk and Rampengu, that we subtract the one in the middle, that we subtract the chances of both of them, because you don't want to count them twice, no? You have to do the same thing for all of this and subtract the chances of all of them in between. So the calculation can get very crazy very fast. So I really tried to figure out a calculation. But it was at the end of the day a foolish errand. So what I ended up doing is that there is another way to find the probabilities, and that's by doing testing, no? So I did testing of 514 opening hands, and this is what I found. So first, like, I started with a number, 514. Why this number? Well, the part of this calculation also was because I was very bothered, and this is something I'm going to talk about on Friday, about a card, about very, very bothered about inheritance, because I couldn't figure out if the card was worth playing with the calculations for it. The main reason behind it is that when you try to calculate the chances of inheritance, it gets very crazy very fast, because you have to calculate chances of getting inheritance, and if you have the chances of having another Ritual Beast monster in hand, no? If that Ritual Beast monster is a psychic, you need a non-psychic, so you have to calculate chances of not having that non-psychic in hand already, because you already have something like Elder Cannahawk. Inheritance, sure, can find an extender, but you know, it's not the same, no? So you want to calculate all these things, and it can get blown out of proportions very, very fast. So instead of that, I calculated chances here, no? Now you will notice the number here is 33.80 for chances of getting one copy or more of a Triof in the deck, no? So what I did is that I start serving myself hands, and I know with certainty, because you know we did this calculation, that the closer I get to this number with seeing inheritance in the deck, since it's a Triof, the closer I am to numbers that are actually real and relevant. So I start serving myself hands and keep going through more and more hands until the number of inheritance, the number of times as inheritance in the deck, start being close to this 33.7%, no? And you notice I wrote here that the data normalized after 375 hands. So after 375 hands, the number was, I believe, like 33.8 something, 86 maybe. And then I thought, you know, just to be certain, because sometimes you can, when you calculate the probabilities, you can land on a number earlier than you think just by chance, no? Just to be certain, I did way more hands, and I ended up with 514 at that point. And this is the percentage of inheritance I got. That's 33.46. So the margin of error for this calculation is small enough that we can make a lot of conclusions with this, no? Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about here is this bleak number here, and this is painting a way bleaker picture than what it actually is. Let me show you. So let's say we're in a regional and we want to play 8 rounds, no? So we play 8 rounds and half of those games going to game 3, no? So that means that we play every round is 2 games, so that will be 16, and the games that go to game 3 is another game, no? So we play 20 games in total, no? And let's say of those 20 games we play half of them going first, no? So that will be 10 games, no? So we have, here we will have for 10 games, and we multiply that for the 0.17, and then that's 1.7 games, no? And from this, remember we are also playing, let's say we play post-prosperity on this, no? So we do post-prosperity, we know because of this number that we have a 33% chance of drowning, so let's calculate the chances for actually breaking here, no? So we do the opposite, no? We have 33% chance of drowning, we have 67% chance of not drowning. So multiply this by this number, and we're breaking around 1 game and 1.1 games, 1.14 games, I would say 1.14 games, sorry. So you can see this is actually a number that is very manageable, you know. And we are playing the deck in a big tournament. This is stuff that you look into, you know, like this sort of numbers, sort of calculation help you figure out a lot of, okay, you know, this deck is actually a little more consistent than what I thought originally. So but the interesting part here is that we has this is a pretty good percentage for a deck to start with, no? So I thought this calculation was pretty cool to know these numbers, you know, when you're playing the deck. You will notice here in the right I have some more numbers that are going to be relevant on Friday. So you can see I was calculating inheritance here, no? Just to give you a small preview, I'm not going to jump too deep into this, but let me cover also this one. So we have 2 card starters that require ulti-appelio. You notice that it's only 3.7% of the time that we have a 2 card starter that require ulti-appelio. So if we do our 10 games again, you will notice that this is a very, very low percentage, no? Alright, so here in the right we have other numbers that I'm not going to go too much into detail into because we're going to cover them on Friday. But the main things I want to talk about here is, well, this line here. And remember, this is 2 card starters that require ulti-appelio. You will notice as 3.5%. So that would be, if we do our 10 games again, you know, that would be 10 multiplied by 0.035, no? So that would be less than probably 1 out of 60 games. 1 out of 30 games, sorry. Going first, we want to require an ulti-appelio for a 2 card starter, no? So that's a little of a preview for Friday. And apart from that, we have this inheritance here, and just to give a quick rundown of what the numbers are. Amazing inheritance is something, it's a hand that was a brick completely. And again, remember brick, we have 17 ritual beasts, 3 Italies, and the rest are apart from the inheritance, in this case, for this calculation in particular, apart from the 3 inheritance, are Oyamas, no? So that we have 12.2% for that. Apart from that, we have 67% of the inheritance, and we have bad inheritance. So this is inheritance that we don't have another ritual beast monster in hand, and that's 22.67%, no? So that's another thing to consider. So when we consider about playing inheritance, we notice that inheritance is going to be a good card in our hand around 80% of the, close to 80% of the time. So it's a number we want to consider. We want to revisit this on Friday too, to decide if we want to play inheritance or not, you know. As you see, we have here the number that I got, and this is the amount of inheritance I got with the total hands, and this is just to verify that, you know, we did enough hands for these numbers to actually matter, you know, to mean something. And here is the number from the calculator, no? Just so we can compare, like, okay, you know, we were very close to that number, so this holds some water, no? You can see a little of a smaller upload today, as I am. You can see a little of a smaller upload today, as this is sort of like a preview for my upload on Friday, in which I'm gonna have a very in-depth discussion about the decklist and the cards that I'm currently playing, and a lot of this statistical information is gonna go into place in some of the conclusions that we make in that video. So you don't want to miss that video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you find this information informative, otherwise you're interested in these statistics about the deck, I would really appreciate you like the video. And apart from that, I'm gonna be streaming, very likely streaming this weekend morning, Saturday or Sunday morning, and that will be on my Twitch channel. That will be twitch.tv/EdYGO channel. So if you wanna miss that out, the link to the Twitch channel is in the description below. And if you wanna know when I'm going live and in X /Twitter, that will be EdYGO channel there too. And I also upload a video to my YouTube channel whenever I'm going live. So I'll catch you in the live stream. If not, keep an eye out for the video on Friday. Thank you for watching again, and see you in the next one.